object off the larboard quarter! There's the monster!
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hello and welcome back to the Nautilus, the only dive bar that dives. Here we talk about movies and the cocktails that pair well with them. My name is Paul, I'll be your skipper, your mixologist, and your connoisseur of the silver screen as we journey together into the depths of debauchery. And tonight we're mixing up a cocktail that gets its name from the narrator of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. A cocktail with an ingredient so rare that you probably won't be able to make it at your galley at home. But before we get started, let's dive.
Ready to dive.
Aye, sir. Diving station.
Ahead full.
Diving station.
3 degrees down.
3 degrees down.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was released by Walt Disney Studios in... hang on a second. The real 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was released by Walt Disney Studios on December 23, 1954, based on Jules Verne's 1870 novel. It was both a critical and commercial success, receiving 3 Oscar nominations and winning 2 for art direction and special effects. And it's widely regarded as one of the best science fiction films ever made. And tonight we're mixing up a cocktail created for the story's narrator, the Professor Aronnax, played wonderfully by Oscar-winning actor Paul Lucas.
Is that true?
So when I first saw 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea as a kid, I thought Professor Aronnax was played by Walt Disney putting on an accent. In the story, Pierre Aronnax is the assistant professor at the Paris Museum of Natural History, but he finds himself stuck in San Francisco after multiple ships are sunk in the Pacific, allegedly by a sea monster. At first, Aronnax seems intrigued by the idea of this monster, and he's one of the few characters in the story that doesn't dismiss the possibility of its existence.
If we could go deep enough, we'd all be surprised at the creatures down there.
In a lot of ways, Aronnax is kind of like a 19th century Matt Hooper, and he agrees to join a 3-month-long expedition to try to locate and hunt down the monster. And like Matt Hooper, Aronnax has a pretty hard time convincing other people this monster exists.
In my considered opinion, no such monster exists, or ever did.
Doesn't seem to me we have proved anything one way or the other, Captain.
My decision stands. We'll set you ashore in Saigon. Gentlemen?
Be a good loser, Professor. The fish that got away is always the biggest one.
After the ship is attacked by the monster, Aronnax is thrown overboard and discovers the truth.
Who could have conceived such a miracle? A submarine boat. There is great genius behind all this.
Yes, and great evil. Don't forget this. This is an engine of destruction.
From this point on, it becomes Aronnax's mission to convince Captain Nemo to share his creations with the world. Okay, well now that we all know a little something about the character, let's talk about the cocktail that Professor Aronnax inspired. To make this, you're going to need 5 ingredients. I've lined a few of them up here in a little parade for the professor. First, you're going to need some Fernet, which is a bitter. I think the idea of adding Fernet into this cocktail was because that Aronnax is from the land, and this is a very earthy smelling and tasting bitter. Next, we're going to need a gin. For that, I don't usually use this gin, but since this is a nautical themed cocktail, we're using the small batch Mermaid Zest. But look at that bottle. I mean, this just screams 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Next, because Professor Aronnax is French, we're going to use a French herbal liqueur, and this is that rare ingredient I was talking about, green chartreuse. It's made by monks in the mountains in France, and they've been making this since 1737 using a recipe that goes back to, I believe, 1609. And the reason that chartreuse is so rare is because the monks can and will only make so much of it a year, as they want to focus more on their primary goal of prayer and solitude.
On your way to hell!
So if you do happen to see a bottle of green chartreuse out in the wild at your local liquor store, I suggest you get it, if for no other reason, to put it on a shelf and impress your friends. I did not buy this bottle of green chartreuse. We commandeered this in a sunken galleon near the Great Barrier Reef. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this cocktail. We're also going to need a lime and some simple syrup. All right, let's get started making the Professor Aronnax. We're going to build everything in the old shaker here. And to start off with, of course, we're going to add some ice in there. I'm using my hands to put the ice in this. That's fine because I'm AI generated. Don't you do this at home. Use a spoon. This is gross. Next, we're going to need a little freshly squeezed lime juice. Always try to use freshly squeezed juice when you're making a cocktail. It makes a big difference. If you don't have a juicer, I suggest you get one. These are great. I know people are excited about Ferraris and fancy cell phones, but no. Juicers is where it's at. You want to impress somebody, you get a juicer, let me tell you. Okay, we're going to do 1 ounce lime juice. Next, we're going to do a ½ an ounce of the simple syrup. Add that simple syrup to our shaker. Now we start to add the good stuff. We're going to add 1 ounce of each of these. First, we're going to start with our bitter here, the Fernet. 1 ounce of Fernet. Next, we're going to add our gin. 1 ounce of this too, folks. And lastly, 1 ounce of the green chartreuse. This is what the cocktail is all about right here. The green chartreuse. Okay, 1 ounce of that as well, and be extra careful not to spill that, because those monks, who knows when they're going to make another bottle of this. We've added all our ingredients. Now it's time to shake the cocktail. We're going to do an edit so you don't have to watch the shake because it's a long time. Okay, we've got our cocktail mixed and shaked. Now we just need a fancy glass. A glass that Professor Aronnax would approve of. Use this, I think this is a coupe glass. We're just going to pour that right in here. I know there's no garnish. If we're being entertained by Captain Nemo, I imagine he would have some kind of a weird sardine or something to put in there.
Seaweed.
Perfect. Okay, well, there we go. The Professor Aronnax. Tasting and judgment. Here's to you, Professor. I hope you convinced Nemo to share his secrets. That is complex. It's very French, but there's a lot of mysterious flavors in there that blend really well. You get a little bit of the lime, you get the sweetness from the simple syrup. That Fernet, that earthy Fernet mixed in with the green chartreuse, it really does represent Professor Aronnax in the movie. I don't travel in time, but it tastes like what I imagine a cocktail would taste like in the 1860s. Well, a cocktail that a well-to-do gentleman such as Aronnax would be able to afford. This definitely is not a cocktail for Ned Land. Professor Aronnax in the book, they say he's 40 years old. And in the film, they never say his age, but let's just say he's 40 years old. That's a 40-year-old man. Times were tough in the 1860s. That was a 40-year-old man. I mean, the crew of the Nautilus, those are probably all children then. They can't all age well like us millennials.
You really believe they would lay down their arms and abolish the slave camps?
Yes, I think I could persuade them. Let me try.
Well, thank you, Professor Aronnax, for being such an optimist. And thank you for showing up here at the Nautilus tonight. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know if there's any movies or cocktails you'd like me to do in the future. And take care, everybody.